Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back. We are back after a long hiatus. I have no clue what episode this is. What episode is this, Jordan?
You're asking the wrong person.
It's like episode a billion. We have an episode in over 3 weeks since the victory at the RBC Heritage, but we are 39. Back. 39. Great number. We are back. It's a great week to have a great week. It feels weird. We were just talking about this. It feels weird. Going to be weird getting back into the whole gist with Jordan Spieth golf, getting back into form for what really is going to be a big stretch in this next 10 weeks. Really not many weeks off. We're going to have, that US Open Travelers stretch. We're going to have this next 4-week stretch, which is 4 straight into Colonial, I believe, or Muirfield. Which one? It's PGA. It's Byron, PGA, Colonial,
Memorial
Village.
Yeah, so it's a big stretch coming up. A lot of points are out there. And I think that win is big because I think we're looking good for the President's Cup as well. I don't think we're an issue given that he just won. I think even if we don't qualify, we've basically got ourselves a Cavs pick, seeing how he's played the last 2 years. And now he's got a win under his belt. So that's good. Back at Kapalua, I know that we weren't really in like a discussing mode. We were just kind of like celebrating that last pod. We're back in Kapalua. A lot of things, wins are huge. They're life-changing events for some people on tour. It's good that that's not the stage of his career that Jordan Spieth is in right now, but it was a pretty awesome week. It was the weirdest. I talked about this on the Dab Golf Pod. It was the weirdest win I've ever experienced. I can confidently say, I'm sure you guys can test this, that an hour before he held the trophy, I had I did not think that he had any. I thought the tournament was like, too many things had to go his way. It was just, I've never experienced something where you needed so many things to happen and they all did. Especially since even when everything happened to get into the playoff, Patrick Cantlay's the last person you want to have in the playoffs. So we got blessed. So I saw someone say, do you think that it was luck or skill? I think that it was definitely a mixture of both. But to say he didn't get lucky, that the putter didn't affect him to the point where he lost. And especially the fact that, he got all those breaks down the stretch. I mean, it's not too often that you're going to have major winners and major caliber winners like Lowry, Cantlay. I know Cantlay has won a major, but he's going to, you just don't dodge bullets from a pack of those guys. So it's great. That's a great win. That's a much better win than Valero in terms of points, strength of field. I'm sure that we talked about in the episode before that already solidifies the amount of points he needed to stay top 12 or whatever it was in the next year, right, Jordan? That's got to be over. That was over 37 points, right?
It was 54.
Yeah. So in a year, he can miscut and he will be top 12 in a year from now. So that's great to hear. We have a lot of horrible events coming out. We can take advantage big time. I think if Spieth wins either this week or next week, it's a pretty big jump, right?
Well, if he wins this week, he'll only move up one spot. Funny
really?
enough. Yeah. Because it's
If
he wins the PGA, that's another story. But
yeah, but two wins in a row, that means some people are going to be dropping in the future. There's still got to be some tournaments coming out. But there's a lot to discuss. I don't think there's too much we have on the Byron Nelson itself. I think that's a pretty standard discussion. I know we have our bets coming on, but there's a lot in the world of golf. The PGA has some stories leading up to it with the Saudi League and Tiger. There's a lot that we can get into today, and it doesn't even need to be long discussions. There's a lot to just pick that we missed in the last 3 weeks. So Dan, I'll let you give your thoughts.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It was a weird 3 weeks. I mean, all the tournaments. Wells Fargo was cool because it played difficult, but mostly it wasn't really the course. It was more the weather. But that was still fun to watch a little bit on the weekend. I'd say, what was it, Zurich? I'm not a big fan of that event. Schauffele continues to strengthen the Xander agenda.
The Xander agenda is thriving.
I love it because Schauffele, man, is just like, I don't even know how to describe it.
The Xander, you're on our Xander agenda, right? Me and Ryan, you're on that same train. Oh, the Xander agenda is just so perfect. It's basically that he doesn't win if it's a full field. He just, every win he gets somehow is not like,
it's just not a good win.
Yeah. And say what you want. I'm not saying that the Olympics is not a good win. It's just funny that that's the one that got him into tournaments like Kapalua. It's just, It's funny.
Well, that's the thing is, like, he'll be in Kapalua for like the fifth or sixth straight year, maybe seventh.
Yeah. He has no wins. Yeah.
A single PGA Tour event since 2019.
Yeah. And I'll give my thoughts on the Zurich real quick. It's blasphemy that a tournament with the format best ball is a PGA Tour win. I mean, all shot, I would be all for that. I think that would be sick. I think that would be legit too. I think that should count for both. I think that would be a legit win for both players if it was all shot, just because that's all shot is harder than playing your own ball. Like there's so many more factors to play. So I think that would be great. But I mean, best ball. I mean, at that point, just put a scramble in there to make it fun. Like, I mean, it's just not a legit format, in my opinion, for the PGA Tour. But yeah,
no, I agree. And then I kind of forgot whatever the other tournament was. So
the Mexico Open, won by John Rahm.
Oh yeah, good for Rahm. He should have won that event, and he did. So not much to say there. I'll let Jordan speak before I have a couple Spieth takes.
I like the Spieth takes coming up, but yeah, just cliche. We've all said it, but happy to be back. Dan is done with school. We're recording this on Tuesday night. I'm done with school tomorrow, and Bob is not that far off.
Done with school.
So it's awesome because we're heading into the summer. We're all kids. We're young. I mean, we get to actually pay full attention now without having school to worry about, which is really nice. And yeah, this is just a massive stretch. I mean, you got the next 4 weeks, and then I'm looking, it's going to be at minimum 7 of 8, and it likely will be 8 of 9 because we all think he'll play Travelers, and that's 8 of 9 weeks coming up. The Jordan Spieth will play golf, which is fantastic.
It might be 8 of 10.
I think it's 8 of 10.
Because I think John is in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it just wouldn't make sense to skip Travelers because it's right down the road from the U.S. Open. It made sense last year as much as it sucked for me because it would be a cross country trip, but it's right next door. It would not make sense because he's not going to play like the Barbasol and all those midsummer tournaments that just stink.
Yeah, but to Jordan's point, sorry, go ahead. To Jordan's point, like out of the next 10 events, he's going to play 8 of them. Only ones he won't play are RBC Canadian and the John Deere.
Yeah. I got my numbers mixed up. 6 of 7.
Wow.
6 of 7.
Right. There you go. So he's not playing John Deere.
No.
Especially with the LIV guy. No, I'm just kidding. But so it'll be a good stretch to see where he's at. I mean, this is the time to get hot, right? It kind of leads well into my Spieth take, is that he's somewhere. I mean, we'll take that one and run and hide because I think his game was somewhere in between Valero finish and RBC Heritage finish. So it's somewhere between a T35 and a first place. He's striking the ball like a first place, but he's putting it like a 70th place.
Yeah.
I think depending on how bad 70th putting is relative to the rest of the field, I mean, obviously it's last, but like how far from the average it is, that varies his score. That varies his finishing
He
spot.
wishes he was 70th on tour this season in putting.
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, like in the field on the
In one field, yeah. I know.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he's 186th strokes gained putting this year, and that's minus point. He's losing half a stroke around on the greens almost. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, another just like, first of all, the Valero feels like it is millenniums ago.
Yeah.
Like that feels so much farther away than just even the RBC. Like that feels like an eternity. The Masters feels like an eternity. It was just so weird. Like he's playing Rory golf, like picking off a win.
Yeah.
Like that's not how Jordan Spieth has played golf in the past. It's weird to not have any form going in and just pick off a win. That's what Rory does. It was really weird. I've never seen that from Spieth. I've never gone into a tournament with less like expectations and then winning.
Yeah.
Like it made no sense. There was nothing that pointed towards Jordan Spieth winning because that's not a course that he has historically played well at. It just shows, it gives you a reminder going back to the 2015 days that this guy can win anywhere.
Yeah.
He can win anywhere. I mean, the driver is as good as it's as good as we've ever seen. It's better than 2015. It's better than 27. It's better. It's the best. I think it's the best we've ever seen him drive the golf ball. And I know a lot of the other areas are struggling, but that's good because with all the talent he has, as much as we keep saying this, the putter has to at some point heat up.
Right.
Like it just has to. Even for the worst putters in the world, even for the Keegan Bradleys of the world.
It's gonna pop at some point.
It's got to. Even just for one tournament. And when you have that type of talent, you build off that one tournament. It's got to happen.
Jordan, just one more thing before you can hop in here.
Oh, you're good. I'm just listening.
Darn, I had such a good thought too. Oh, okay. So there's he's on his way back, right? From that fall to number 92 in the world. So Valero was like, all right, he can win again. And RBC is kind of that next step into I'm for sure a top 15 player in the world because I can win on any week at any place. And I think the next step is
Southern Hills
again because I can win a major. So we're trending in the right direction, and I think that was just kind of another step. And I think even this week, I don't really know what to expect at Craig Ranch, but I don't think you can be surprised if he's up there come Saturday and Sunday, right?
No.
Striking it now.
No, I want to touch on that thing you talked about, Dan, about how it's the next step. Like we've seen Jordan contend and look like the best player in the world at Pebble, at the Valero last year, at Colonial last year. This event is another tier above that. To win an event like this, I mean, the Mickey Mouse win crowd is in shambles. That was not a good week for them because, like it or not, that was a great field on a course that you have to hit the ball very well. You have to be on the top of your game because you will be in the trees. It's one of those tournaments that you can throw yourself out of the tournament in one hole. I mean, Jordan Spieth was out of the tournament because he made a triple on. You can make big numbers there. And one more thing on the RBC, I just wanted to touch on because I just remembered this literally right before we started this podcast is what a god awful hole that par 5 is on the back nine. 16? I don't know what your guys' opinions are, but I think that is one of the worst golf holes. It's like it punishes you for hitting a further drive.
Which hole?
The par 5 on the back where you have to hit it over the trees, but you have to hit it short and right to even have an angle. It's just
it doesn't happen often, but I'll agree with Bob on that. I think horrible might be a little tough. But
It's
yeah,
just it's not.
I definitely cut off some of those trees down the left side.
You're hitting like lob wedge as a layup. Like,
yeah, that's a little rough. But in defense, I think it's a little gimmicky for sure. But with the way the tour is getting longer, I feel like it's kind of a like, wow, at some point
I'm
maybe
fine
guys
with
just start. Maybe
Sorry.
guys just start hitting 3 woods so that they can have it far back enough so that they can get it up and over the trees. And at that point, like if distance is becoming such a big problem and you've got some gimmicks to try and limit that, then that's just kind of how it is, I guess.
I mean, I think
cut down some of the damn trees.
I'm not.
I disagree with that.
I'm not in terms of par fives, I'm not a big fan of not reachable par fives. I just think that takes out the legitimacy of it. But I was a big fan of those par fives at TPC Potomac last week. I thought it was really cool that people were having like their second shots where if they hit it in the rough off the tee, the layup was then hard. Like I thought that was a cool aspect to a par five where the par five fairway got narrower as it got down. Even some of them were like split, like fairway rough, fairway green. I thought those were great designs because they were like 650 yards.
Yeah, I mean to be fair to the one par five at RBC or like in a
the other par fives are great. I mean, we made equal and all that.
The trees are a little gimmicky, right? Because you could hit a great second shot and just catch a leaf, and you're in the pond, and that's just that. Like if you flush it and hit a leaf, and you're dropping because it's wet, that seems a little rough. But I think that's probably the future of par fives is having some that are like 590 and having a forced layup zone to hit wedges into the third, if that's what the course wants. So I could see why you're frustrated with that one par five.
I know you just said you don't like long par five, Bobs. Looking ahead to the PGA.
Yeah.
2 par fives.
None of them are reachable.
Both 630 plus yards at Southern Hills. So
that would be a great thing for Jordan last year. Because last year he was really struggling with the par five play. But not this year.
Both par fives next week playing over par for the week, which will be
for sure.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Gotta just dial in those wedge numbers. That'll be key too. I feel like he's been hitting some decent wedges, but he probably wants to start hitting some ones that get out the cash emojis on the IG tracking. Cash emojis, the darts. Probably wants to see those flying on the social medias.
That's up to him. But do we want to get into the Byron just a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, sure. Do you have coverage and tee times and stuff like that?
I have tee times.
Yeah, we have tee times.
We are late early. 2:06 Eastern on Thursday with Scotty Scheffler and the defending champion KH Lee.
Major champion.
Big KH Lee fan here. And then on Friday, 8:56 a.m. Eastern with those two. And we'll be on ESPN Plus both days. So that's fun.
That's good. A bunch of major champions in the group. Obviously, Scotty winning the Masters. Spieth has 3, and then KH has the Byron Nelson last year. So, it'll be fun to see the guys try and conquer the test that is Craig Ranch. It truly is major championship level. I'm surprised.
It truly is one of the best venues I've ever seen.
The PGA isn't there. I mean, with the amount of wide fairways and straightforward shots, I think it'd be a
flat greens. You're missing that.
Massive greens, a difficult test for the lads. But I guess Southern Hills might be a little more tricky. So
maybe we'll see about that.
We'll see. Yeah, I think Golf Channel has them on Thursday, Friday at 4 to 7. So not a ton of coverage. But ESPN Plus has it, so it is what it is.
We're good, personally.
If we're being real, this is my way of basically giving KH Lee a free win. But any course that KH Lee survives past the first round, that tells a big story. I'm kidding about that. KH Lee's actually pretty good. He got past the Memorial, but KH Lee's kind of a Craig Ranch merchant, and even though it's only been played 1 year, he's just like Craig Ranch is like already like KH Lee's course.
Well, he is the only winner there.
So yeah, but like you know what I mean. Like feels like
it's a KH Lee. Who's the one guy I was seeing pop? Taylor Gooch.
Oh, yep, Gooch.
This has that
Gooch.
kind of player.
Zalatoris.
Yep.
I feel like
popular.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, it's
the thing about Craig Ranch is that this is one of the few courses on tour I feel like you can win not having played the best in the field, which is just because the greens are so big.
That's fair.
And the fairways are so wide that you can get away with a lot of stuff here. But it is what it is. What was the winning score last year?
25 under par.
Did we ever have a chance on Sunday? I don't think so, right?
Not really.
Was it raining? Was it raining?
Gross.
It was raining, right?
It was basically thunderstorms without the thunder.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, occasionally, like they had to almost like pause play when he was on like 18. It was ridiculous.
It was bad.
Yeah, I remember that.
The only good things about this week, well, aside from the venue, are that it's a good place to kind of see where the putter's at. And that's partly because it's close to Southern Hills. It's probably got the same grass type as Southern Hills, same type of temperature. It's going to be hot and it's going to be pretty windy. And that's exactly what it's going to be in Tulsa the week after. So it's kind of a good test in terms of conditions, feel, where's the putter at. So I think it'll be a important week. And I hope Spieth comes out with some patience because I feel like he did that a lot better at RBC, where before he was kind of forcing stuff. So hopefully he's got some patience and he's not trying to get a good result leading into the PGA. It kind of comes naturally because he's playing well.
I think you got to be aggressively patient this week because, I mean, you're going to need to shoot 5-6 under every single day to have a chance. I think this week, it's kind of a dreaded putting fest. Bob alluded to it. The greens are easy to read. They're massive. I think fact it's not a great test. I think what makes this a good test for Southern Hills is, as you said, it's in the same location, same grass type, same winds, which is nice. But at the same time, Southern Hills is going to emphasize ball striking, where this place will emphasize more putting.
It's going to come down to who's like making 50 footers, like
pretty much. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll be who makes everything inside of 10 feet, which is like legit doable this week. If you make everything inside of 10 feet, you'll be there.
Yeah.
And there'll be probably a couple dudes doing it because these greens are.
It's a course that bad putters like Zalatoris play well. Like the greens are just not that difficult.
Yeah, they're nothing.
Which is not great for Jordan, I don't think, because Jordan loves the difficult greens.
I think it'll be good to see, like he can get a good feel for where his putting stroke is in tournament play. Yeah, hopefully for 4 rounds. It better be 4 rounds at Craig Ranch.
It needs to be 4.
You wouldn't want to miss out on 4 rounds at one of golf's ultimate tests.
You don't get a tee time at Craig Ranch. I mean, they're booked in.
Yeah, exactly. They're booked up. So.
Yeah. I don't think Jordan Spieth could get a tee time at Craig Ranch.
Nope.
Not during.
I don't believe so.
Why do you think he was at Southern Hills on Monday? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, he couldn't get it. He just couldn't get a tee time. The practice rounds are even booked.
Did you guys? I'm sure you guys saw that picture of Justin Thomas posted, but did you see the video of the swing?
Let's not talk.
I might have been in the chat. Dude, he pulled the crap out of that.
But the ankle just looks so uncomfortable.
Well, that's what his ankle always looks like. He pulled the crap out of it and then twirled.
But the way that he took the photo, it looked like it didn't look possible.
Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of twirls. I got to show you how to twirl, Mr. Blute, because I saw your twirl earlier.
All right. We don't need to. Here's the thing about the twirl. I'm not that bad at twirling. I was walking back to my bag and twirling at the same time. I haven't learned how to multitask yet.
Well, you can't twirl while you have to hit it. Say, that's not awful. That's not awful. Twirl. And
but I'm a stick, so the wind was already kind of blowing me. So I was just like, I'll go with the wind. I'll go with the wind.
So you just started. Okay, that makes. I will give you a pass now. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah.
So, all right. So where do we want to go next? We want to go into bets for Byron Nelson.
I would love to talk about the Saudi League first.
Saudi League first.
And then we can close the bets. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Saudi League first. There's a lot that's happened since.
Actually, I want to hear yours first.
I'm going to disagree with Bob. I'll set it before.
I haven't said anything yet.
I want to hear
I know where you're going with this.
I don't think you do.
That's why I want to hear yours, because I've seen you posted something about Greg Norman's interview and you said it's brilliant. And I'm not sure what about it you think is brilliant.
The interview was just amazing. Like, it was just a great interview.
Okay. Yeah, I watched a little bit.
I didn't watch it yet, to be fair.
Okay. So I think you should start, because I want to.
Yeah. So here's my thing with the Saudi League. I think it's entertaining, just like the drama is entertaining, first of all. Second of all, I like that it gets players. It somehow is doing something to get players that I would never watch on a tour where I'd watch them. Like, I'd never watch some of the people that are going to the Saudi League, but if they played in the Saudi League, I think I'd watch them just because it would be funny. Second of all, I don't have a problem with it. I'll say it. I don't have a problem with it. I think that all money that all big corp gets is coming from a bad place somewhere. Or like Greg Norman said that it's not like he's working for the Saudi Arabians. He doesn't answer to them.
No, but he actually does though.
He doesn't. He does.
He is using their money.
But they're investing it. It's not like he is.
It's a public government fund.
Yeah, it's literally the public government fund that is ran by the Saudi League head.
No. I mean,
I see. I can't talk about this if you don't know, like, you don't have your facts.
No, because the thing. See, I'm gonna go with Greg Norman said. What was the exact quote he said? He was like,
"It's not." He said, "I don't. Whatever, something to them. Like, I do not answer to them." That's what it was.
Okay.
And then,
I don't think that's entirely untrue at all. Like, it's not like if the Saudis started making demands, Greg Norman would have to obey them.
That's fair, but it's not. But he's getting funded by the fund that's like the fund of the guy that runs Saudi Arabia, pretty much.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So if which is like the guy that runs the fund tells him to do something, so it's not his money. He doesn't.
It's not his money, but he's not working for them.
But he's using their money.
So he is using their money.
But he's not working for them.
What do you think the goal is
behind the scenes? He's working.
The goal of the Saudi League is to make money.
I don't
think it's a money grab.
Anything to do with that.
I disagree. I do think it's a money grab.
What is?
I also think it's a attention grab.
Yeah,
that's true. I agree with that.
Thing.
Yeah, but like, are you telling me you wouldn't take $30 million from the Saudis? Like, we'd all have to. Like, there's no question there. Like, you'd have to.
Yeah. Here's the thing, because you're right. In the sense of, like, it's so normalized in society to take money from places that you shouldn't be taking money from, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, I guess, is where I'm
not to mention, like, I'm tired of hearing Sergio Garcia, who else? Mr. Waste Management, Charlie Hoffman. Like, we're not protected. We want to leave the tour. Like, are you kidding me? Do they want to see what the average American family income is on a monthly?
Yeah, but that's what I think's funny, dude. Like, that Sergio crap where he was like, "I can't wait to get on this tour." That was hilarious.
It's embarrassing.
Like, what a clown Sergio Garcia is.
Like, the other interesting thing is like, do you think the Saudi League's gonna protect you better. Like the tour is literally run by tour players.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't agree with some of the tour players because a lot of them are new age, like a new kind of generation. And Rory's like the tour torchbearer. If Spieth said more stuff about it, he would be, I think. But yeah, Rory's been the one that spoke out about it a lot.
He's the chairman, right, of the pack?
I think so. But he's said stuff against it. And I feel like Rory said a lot of good stuff, but I think I can see the point where only the older guys, like the Sergios, the Westwoods, the older Euros, the Poulters maybe, they might not necessarily agree with Rory. And the LIV is kind of
I agree
to get the bag. It's not right, but it's normalized, so they're going to get some, criticism.
But like, do you blame Lee Westwood for taking that? Like, I don't
blame him.
Like, if you get offered that money, you have to take it. Like, that's a life-changing thing.
I don't, but not for Lee Westwood though.
I don't think that's untrue at all. He has set up not only his kids but his grandchildren for the rest of their lives. His entire family.
If it was life-changing, why wouldn't every single tour player leave if it was life-changing?
Because in the long run, it only serves so many people well. Like, it would hurt Jordan Spieth in the long run. It doesn't hurt Sergio Garcia in the long run. Jordan Spieth taking whatever money he'd take for the Saudi League, he'd lose in sponsors money that he'd get over the next 20 years playing on the PGA Tour. You know, see what I mean?
That's probably true.
That's a fair argument.
That's why the older people are going.
Right. No, I think, yeah. So I think we agree that
they can go.
And there's Kevin Na and
older people tour. Okay. The other thing is they said 6 top 50 players.
Yeah, I want to go through that and look at who that is.
So I'm curious who that is. Right. So I think we know. I just don't even know who's in the top 50. Like
Sergio, Phil.
Okay, is Phil in the top 50?
Is Adam Scott's not
I think he is because he's been playing pretty well. I think Luby's going, right? He's for sure top 50. Is Varner going? Because he's top 50 now.
I don't think Varner's going.
I haven't heard anything about Varner.
I also have not paid attention to the LIV golf commitments. Yeah. So,
well, it's interesting because didn't the tour just denied him, right? That's what that was. Like, either if you're a member, if you still want to be a member of the PGA Tour, you cannot play in this other league.
Yeah. Could be a bluff, though. It could be a serious bluff.
It's going to court.
At the same time, though, I think as a tour, that's the right move. It's like you pick one or the other.
I don't blame the PGA Tour, but they will lose in court. It's independent contractors. I think
that's fine.
The only case that you have there is that we're also independent and we can ban whoever we want. But, like, I don't think that they win in court. I think that.
Okay.
That's a very fair point from Bob. Because, like, the PGA Tour can tell them you don't play on our tour. They can do that.
They can.
I mean, it's like Augusta National saying you play in the Masters, you don't. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, they just pull Sergio and Lee Westwood's card.
But then all of a sudden they're making the president that the PGA Tour players are not really independent contractors anymore. So we'll see. My overall thought is that, I think obviously it would be a more ideal situation if there wasn't so much controversy with the politics of the whole thing. But like Greg Norman, I don't know what your guys' opinions on him. I think he's in this for the image. He wants to grow the game other places. And I think that just the opportunity is being given to the Saudis that he has to take. I do think that someone said on Twitter that, let me pull up the reply actually. Because he was talking about how the culture is changing through golf in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And someone said, they're trying to change the culture through golf. 81 people were executed last month. I'm not going to go into politics. there's a big difference between the culture of the people in Saudi Arabia and also the the people versus the government.
The thing with that, Bob, is the government runs the people pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
They do, but that doesn't mean that the people are bad because the government's bad.
No, but the government infuses a lot of things into the people. I mean, they have their state.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
But if the government in Saudi Arabia controls the culture of the people.
Correct.
Very well
I agree.
So then they are intertwined. So
they're intertwined, but they're not like people are saying that the culture is trying to be changed through golf.
Right.
You can't put the atrocities of the government on the people trying to change the culture. Like, that's not the public's fault.
That's fair, but they are the government is funding this golf.
Correct.
To change the culture.
Correct. And I see that point, and I see that point of view. And some people cannot get past that.
Already putting the culture down.
Some people cannot get past that. But the Saudi Arabian atrocities are also a lot more widespread than some of the things going on in China and other places that are kind of,
but just
shushed.
Because it happens other way, or it doesn't. I mean, just because it happens in other places doesn't mean that it's right. So
it doesn't, but does that mean I don't think there should be a PGA Tour event in China? No, I don't care. Like, I'm all for there being a PGA Tour event in China. I think that that's good for the culture of China. It grows the game. Right. Whether you like what the Chinese government is doing or not, I still think that that's good for the game of golf.
Right, but it's also sponsored by not the Chinese government who executed 81 people the other day. It's sponsored by HSBC.
But that doesn't mean that the Chinese government is not making a lot of money out of that.
Okay, but it's not the government's money putting into something to sponsor it. It's a different sponsor creating the tour event that's going there in the spot.
So you think the PGA Tour has gotten no money from China to play that tournament?
No.
You don't?
No, I agree that they have gotten from the Chinese.
There wouldn't be an event there if there wasn't money.
Yeah, there's money coming.
I don't think it has anything to do with the Chinese government, though.
It's not in the Chinese government, I don't think.
See, I disagree. I think that the government.
Probably.
I just think the government has a lot of influence as to why they play over there.
Yeah, but there's not monetary influence like that.
They play in other Asian countries too. I mean, they play in Japan. It's just part of
I think that. Is your point that the PGA Tour has not taken any money from these unethically?
Here's the thing, though. I think you're kind of making these assumptions that we can check.
Okay. But I also think that
I don't know.
I also think that a lot of the stuff that goes on with the Chinese government might not be like. I don't think that necessarily is on the internet. Whether the I fully believe that the PGA Tour is getting some sort of blood money from China, like some sort of money that's coming from a bad place in China.
And so that's where we disagree because because we just don't know.
And you also said that you think that
it's hard to,
two wrongs don't make a right. I agree with you, but at the same time, I just don't think that. I think more in the wide scheme of things that most of the money in this world comes back from bad beginnings.
Okay, right. No,
slavery and
that's fair. But
I just think that in the big scheme of things,
so it's a continued trend of bad money being normalized.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
And that's just kind of how the world works, and
I'm okay with that because that is how the world works. Like we have to get past that. Like we can't just use non-slavery money.
So yeah,
I get that it's recent, but I just think that.
Right. I guess I'm saying that there's a lot of problems, and a lot of them, this kind of bad money stuff is very normalized and it's used all over the place. I just don't think it's good. And any ways that we can not do that, continue to make the world better.
Fair enough.
in a
Fair
sense.
enough. That's
I think
fair enough point.
to try and like,
Yeah.
if we just keep adding them, at some point, it's just not gonna ever stop.
Yeah. I that's a fair point. But I also think like, I don't think that the PGA or the Saudi League, did the Super League just like die like that, like dead?
Well, so
Think
yeah,
so.
here's the thing. There's a couple like
Different, yeah.
weird.
While you're looking at it, let me finish. What I was gonna say is like, I don't think that the Saudi League, like the LIV, is going to fund atrocities in Saudi Arabia. Like, I don't think that with the Saudi League happening, it's going to make things worse in Saudi Arabia. Like, the government is going to use that money to kill people. Like, no, I don't think that. That's more where I'm coming from. I don't think that any more harm is going to be done because the Saudi Arabians are going to also, they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Right.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah,
so
and I
like,
guess go ahead, Jordan.
I mean, I don't necessarily get what Bob was getting at there. Maybe I just can't comprehend it. But like,
I'm saying like the money. Saudi Arabia is a bad place right now, correct? Like they do awful things.
Yeah.
I don't think that whatever money is flowing through the Saudi League and the fact that the Saudi League is happening versus not is going to be the difference between the Saudis using money to do more bad things versus less.
I mean, where do you think the Saudis are going to get income from this whole plan? Like, that's my question.
I don't know. I've been thinking it has to be
why there's not any profit. That's not the goal of the league. The goal of the league is to try and legitimize the country and have them be operating these events and put Saudi Arabia on a national stage. Because so
you think it's a publicity stunt for them? So you think it's like Russia at the Olympics, basically?
Yeah.
Back in like. I agree with that. I think that's
the dollar
true.
figures that they're handing out to players. Where the heck do you think they're going to make profit? Because you know the amount of people.
They're not. You're right. You're right. No. You're right. And I think that's fair enough. But I'm also someone who like I wasn't for boycotting the Olympics when they were in Russia. Or when was the Russian Olympics? When it was like the middle of the Cold War. It was like the one before Sochi. Whenever it was. I don't think that having the Olympics there changed anything that happened and made anything worse. Like the Saudi government is going to either keep doing what they're doing or they're going to try and make themselves more legitimate and stop. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but it's possible. I don't think that the money, I don't think that this is going to make the humanitarian crisis any worse than it already is. Yeah, I get that people have principles, but I think that in the world that we just live in, it's a horrible place. Like that's just what it is.
Okay.
And that's my opinion.
So I think that's an interesting point. And I think we could kind of keep going into this.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot easier for us to sit near here and have the take that you have because it doesn't impact us. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot easier to sit here and say, oh, horrible world.
It's also a lot easier to say, oh, I wouldn't take 40 million in blood money. Like it's easy to say that, but if you were given it, like,
but at the same time,
I know none of you guys are saying that, but like, I know there are people on Twitter like, nope, I have morals. Like, dude, if you're a working class man and you were given the opportunity to get $40 million, like you take it. Like that's the reality. Right. Like if you were living in Nazi Germany, you can say that you weren't going to be a Nazi, but you probably would have because the alternative was death. Like that's how the world works. It's unfortunate, but
no,
it works.
That's very fair. I'm not going to deny that because I know it's very true.
I mean, you can't argue that. It's just a lot easier to be okay with it in the position that we are.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the unfortunate part about it all. And I think the more we can do to not participate in things like this.
And that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Hopefully the better off it gets. And that's kind of where I think I sit with it.
I respect that 100%.
One thing, I thought that was a pretty good discussion. One thing I would say that I feel like it's kind of getting thrown under the bus sometimes is this PGL.
Yeah, what is that?
So this, I believe, is the team event stuff.
The PGL?
Dudes, and they have big purses. They kind of called out Rory the other day, which is not a great look.
The PGL is just like dead now, though, because it's like.
Well, they the other day they sent letters to all the PGA Tour members saying Rory said we can't have 10 bill, but we can because Rory doesn't know.
That's not Saudi funded though.
No, it's not. Well, that's my point. It's like this is, and then everybody's like, "Oh, what's the problem with Saudi?" or "Don't take Saudi money" or whatever. I'm like, bro, this isn't even Saudi fund. This is
Fair enough.
totally different. And we'll have to kind of monitor it. I think this is
fascinating stuff. Like, this is going to be a fascinating development over the summer.
And at the end of the day, like, the tour needs to. Clearly, some members are not happy with the tour, and I think as fans, it's gotten better in certain aspects. But I think they do need to have some sort of like broad kind of tour thing where they have some sort of an off season. They have something different in the fall.
I agree with that.
The whole wraparound is tough. FedEx Cup points are weird.
Find the FedEx Cup in the sun, do a match play playoff. Best of 3.
FedEx Cup gets a lot of money for them.
Yeah, but it's the format, fire it into the sun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the strokes are weird. Like, just the whole thing is
it's awful.
Weird stuff because golf is a weird sport.
It is.
So it's good that they have this kind of pressure to sort of
tour can improve. Like, that's what you're getting at. I mean, the tour can definitely improve. There's things that can be better, but I mean, like, you heard us in the first 10 minutes of this podcast talk about how excited we are for the upcoming summer. The tour still has plenty of exciting stuff on it, but of course, I mean, the fall's poor. But again, like, I mean, I think speaking from all 3 of our perspectives, I mean, the golf is not our number 1 priority in the fall anyway. So yes, it can improve, but again, like, if NFL is on Sundays, they're not going to compete with the NFL regardless of what is on the
team.
Exactly. And another quick tidbit on this is the tour has, I feel like they've had some moments, but they've handled it overall like pretty well. And I think they continue their maybe not lucky, but the fact that they have the support of Rory and a bunch of the young stars, the best in the world, basically, is crucial. And they also have this kind of, I think they have the media's support as well. Like, it seems like a lot of the golf's media outlet is not in favor of the Saudi League.
Correct.
You see a bunch of memes about the PGL letters and stuff like that. So it's like, okay. So the tour is the only one that seems to not kind of make the big mistake that kind of pushes it back a little bit. And it's easy to do that when you're on top, but something to monitor, and it's pretty interesting, I think.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I one more thing. Another thing to monitor is, like, people love great products. Like, what if the Saudi League has that first event and they do something and it's a hit? Like, people like good products. If they can, all they have to do is get it running, and we don't know what's going to happen. Like, who knows what's going to happen? So we'll see. We will see. But I do think that a competitive market that's capitalism, right? A competitive market makes the opposing product better.
Yep.
So I get the whole thing with the Saudis, but I also think that, like, the PGL, like, give the PGA Tour a competing market, and the PGA Tour is going to improve because they need to. Right. They have a lot of places they can improve.
Yeah, and this kind of came up into my head right now, but the European Tour, not the Euro Tour, the DP World Tour now, I've seen a couple articles about them and kind of their plans for how to deal with the Saudi League and the PGL and all this stuff, because obviously they don't get the players that the PGA Tour does. So I think their partnership with the PGA Tour will be crucial. And the Scottish Open, I mean, Spieth's there, but they just got commitments from Morikawa, Thomas, and Scheffler. That's going to be a massive field up in Scotland, and that's huge for the DP World Tour, especially because if a lot of their guys like Westwood and Sergio, and I don't know if Rose was going, but if those guys are all going to play for Greg Norman, then they lose a lot of their guys. So we'll see. But we've got some bets to make, I think.
Yeah.
On a lighter note.
Yeah. That was a great discussion. I think there were a lot of great points brought up there.
1 million units on Greg Norman being however old he is tomorrow at minus.
What?
Thank you, Dan, for that wonderful addition.
That was one of those like Michael Scott moments where he started a sentence and didn't know where it was going, and he just kept.
I was trying to make a joke, but I didn't know what to put a million units on regarding the
Exactly.
So I kind of just have
Well,
to strike out looking there, I guess.
Happens.
Oh,
is Matt Wolf to miss the cut available? It is not.
Sorry.
okay.
Bob.
Thrive first or our
Let's
little-
go with our little thing first, just because I have it pulled up.
That sounds great.
Who wants to give me an outright?
I do not yet. I need to look at my list.
Dan?
I'll go first. This is long course. Seems like a Craig Ranch merchant. Pretty good in Texas. His name is Jason Kokrak, and he's at 50 to 1. So I'm gonna throw 10 on him to win 5-10. Mr. Poker Chip.
Heard that?
I'm going for broke this week, by the way. I'm going for the entire. If I hit my miscellaneous this week, I win the tournament. I win the entire thing.
You have an outright first.
I do have an outright first. I'm going to go with
Mr. Blue.
$10 or 10 points on Sahith Theegala at 150 to 1.
I kind of like that.
I love that value for someone like him at this course. So
Fair. Well,
Koepka at 40 to 1 is also quite a.
Dude, I saw something though. Koepka's only won once in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like that's that's deserving of 40 to 1.
Didn't he steal? Yeah, he stole from
He stole
Spieth.
Phoenix from
Yeah,
I
disappointing.
was gonna say Shoffley, but not really because Xander is Xander. I'll leave it at that.
all right. I'm last in the standings, but I've almost made up my entire deficit. I was like 800 points down. I'm only like 40 points down. I'm going with a long shot this week. Going with Ryan Palmer. Texas guy. He was at Southern Hills with Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler shot 64 in his practice round, which
You saw
is
that too. Oh,
just a
man.
practice round, of course. But Mr. Palmer shot, I think, 2 or 3 under, I read. That's going to be a really good score. So, and he's starting to play a little bit better. So I got 5 on him to pay out 605 at 120 to 1.
The only thing about Mr. Palmer is that he doesn't win. Unless
Mr.
he's-
Palmer is not a big winner fan, in my
But who
opinion.
knows?
No.
He's a Texas boy.
I don't need the
I-
hate
yeah.
on Mr. Palmer.
I'm maybe not. I don't know. Hate seems too strong for my thoughts on Mr. Palmer this week.
All right.
I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
Fair.
I could see it. He could pop. It
Oh,
is
do we
if he's gonna pop anywhere. It's
This would be
here
the
or
place.
Colonial. It's
Exactly.
here. It's Craig Ranch or Colonial. So
Yeah, I don't know if Palmer will go low, to be fair, but who knows?
it's what's he at? What are his odds?
120 to 1,
Okay, that's
which is fair.
some value there. Yeah.
Mr. Bob, do you have a placement for me?
I do. I'm going to put 40 points. Jonathan Vegas to top 20
I like that.
at 220.
Johnny Vegas.
2.2 to 1. Johnny Vegas. He's playing well right now.
Yeah, and he mashes the golf ball. Like he hits it hard. I hit it hard, but he hits it harder. I'll tell you, I've been working on my golf game.
Ooh.
I'm sitting right around a little break 80 update. I shot 82 the other day.
You show what?
82. And the problem was I felt so bad, or not so bad, but on the front 9 par 5s, well, actually on the par 5s and hole, I made a 5, 6, 6, and a 7. I'm like, are you kidding
Not
me?
bad.
If I take those 4 strokes off, 78 or 79.
Yeah.
It's coming, man. I figured something out. So
Been playing a lot. I've gotten updates. Been playing. Dan,
Yeah.
do you have a placement for me?
I do have a placement bet. His name
Alrighty.
is Luke List,
Ooh.
and he's in the top 40 at plus 125. He won at Torrey, and he was actually like, I don't know how much you guys watch the Wells Fargo. He was there for a while, and then I think he just kind of weather ejected. So I'm going to play 70 on that at plus 125. Unfortunately, I don't know what that pays out, but
I have my calculator here to help you out. 157.5.
okay. So this to me seems like a bomber and hit it, and Luke List for a top 40. That seems like there's some value there.
I am myself venturing into the top 10s. There is no player on the PGA Tour who loves an easy golf course more than Justin Thomas. I mean, the guy loves easy. That's how he rolls, and he's plus money to top 10 this week.
You know what's good about it too? Even adding on to your Justin Thomas play this week is that I think it's going to be so hot that it just has to be humid. So it's going to be firm, but it's also going to stop on the greens. And I saw something the other day where like homeboy is like first in every strokes gain, not a strokes gain, but like proximity to the hole from pretty much, he's top 3 from 50 to 200 yards. And he hasn't won in 14 months. How about that?
A tough scene.
That's phenomenal.
That's a tough scene.
That's great for the Mr. Thomas agenda. Until he wins Southern Hills or something. That would suck. Anyway.
Moving on. Mr. Bob over there again. I'm calling you Mr. Bob from now on. You seem very intrigued by a certain random play.
Well, this is just one of those picks that like every year you throw the house on it. Every year you just come back, same course. It's like one of those like, let me think. It's like Spieth at the Masters. Like you always have to put $1 million on Spieth at the Masters. You know, KH Lee first round leader is just he is a first round leader merchant. He in most tournaments is 100-1 or better or worse, and has been a first round leader 3 times this season.
That's pretty good. So if you just blindly bet $100 on it,
just blindly put $5 in KH Lee first round leader, and you're making $5,000.
Yeah.
Bob has 50 on that.
So I'm putting 50 on 65-1 KH Lee first round leader.
If that hits.
Lock.
We are done.
It is over.
I'm glad that you have that as your bet because he's playing with Spieth and Scheffler in round 1.
Spiffy.
And they're in the afternoon, and the wind's supposed to be up a little bit. So hopefully
KH Lee is on his game at Craig Ranch. What do you have for me, Dan?
Craig Ranch, major venue, major champion. So we'll see.
You want me to go, Dan, or you want me to go?
I can go. It's funny. I've got your guy, Aaron Rye, bars, top Euro at 11-1, and I'm putting 20 on that to win 240. The Euro field is weird. Like the leader is Alex Noren, and then I have it right here, I think. Alex Noren, Seamus Power, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sepp Straka. And then Aaron Rye. And then Matthias Schwab, Steven Yeager, Martin Laird, Poulter, Willett, Westwood, Stenson, Molinari. There's actually a lot more guys than I thought, but he's going to beat all of them. So Aaron Rye. How about it?
Okay.
Yeah. On the Thrive.
I have my random play first. I need points.
Two need points.
Shut up. I've made a massive comeback.
I
will say to the people that are listening, don't put your money on this. Just don't put your money on it because it's a complete curveball. I think Mr. Siwoo Kim to miss the cut. It's not.
That is so Odd. Where do you get that?
The guy doesn't miss cuts, but I saw it was like plus 180.
That's the definition of miscellaneous random play.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't missed a cut since like October, so
He's due.
yeah. And I mean he's lost strokes putting his last two events. You got to make a ton of putts here. The cut might be 5 or 6 under if he's not making putts. I mean it could be a short week for Siwoo.
Very well could.
I guess the 35 to pay out 95.20 is decent value for a Siwoo Kim this cut. You can't disagree with me on that.
We cannot, no.
That's just one of those plays. Just like it makes too much sense. It's never gonna hit. Like
I have my eye on it.
It makes sense to hit. I kind of like that.
Remember when you put like all of your points on Chucky 3 sticks to top 30 and he missed out on one? He just tied 31st.
That was that's a Chucky 3-6 course, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
the ultimate Chucky 3-6 course. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I did.
Farmers?
It's so unfortunate. No, Chucky 3-6 can't be a farmer's merchant.
Pebble?
I'm still scrolling. It could be farmers.
No, it was like American Express.
Yeah, probably that.
No, it wasn't American Express. It was the Sony.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Actually,
That does make a lot of sense.
All
right,
we're
getting off. We're going off on a tangent. Yeah.
I actually there's a lot of good stuff on Thrive this week.
Yeah,
I'll just tell you right now. I went all in on the unders and strokes, the overs and birdies. So many low scores are shot at Craig Ranch. I'll just say, like, I took all the over props. I took under and Koepka bogeys. I took over on Zalatoris birdies, and my favorite one is Xander under 100. First round merchant, won't do anything on the weekend, but of course he'll start out hot. The Xander
if you're not
agenda.
on Thrive this week, you need to be on Thrive because
Thrive is
hop on.
Some of these props are free.
This is our third week with Thrive, and it has not been this easy from like a picking standpoint.
No, these are some of the better.
I mean, Craig Ranch's top 3 easiest venue on tour, and Xander Schauffele's over under strokes is 70 and a half.
All right.
I mean,
go ahead.
Hammer the under on that. Let me just I got 2 more. So hammer the under on Xander 70 and a half. Hammer the over on our boy Mr. Spieth 3.5.
Yeah. Spieth will definitely make.
He will make 3.5 birdies, and under on the Masters champion Scotty Scheffler 68.5 strokes.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's some lot. Obviously use code GGT, but if you're looking, if you're gonna get on Thrive, this is the week to do it. This is I've been doing Thrive. I've been looking at Thrives.
Speak English, friend.
This has to be the best slate I've seen.
Yeah. It's the juiciest slate.
I mean, the fact that there are this many good score options is great for a course that's just it's
there for the taking.
Craig Ranch leaves me speechless.
I was just about to say, we talk about a little bit how you hit the unders on the scores and over on the birdies. And I think that's what kind of separates it in terms of the majors, right? Is that its ability to get the best out of the golfers at their time, and provides the entertainment. 20 under, phenomenal score for a winner. It's just a peach of a course, really. So as the lad said, I'm going to hammer the over on Zalatoris Eagles and birdies at 4.5.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Everybody says Zalatoris is going to win at some point. And that's light work around here with the 4 par 5s and the short 4. I'm actually going to go over on Koepka bogeys at 2.5.
I was looking at that.
Ooh, I took the under.
I feel like this is a week where Koepka is kind of just like.
Ooh, I feel like now that I'm looking, I feel like that could kill me.
And especially in round 1. And then a Schauffele under if it's 100 points. If it's even at 70.5, Schauffele's. I think he's locked in for like a 68 in round 1. So that seems like a pretty easy underhit for me. So
Yeah. Again, it's a very
great week
it take you long to figure out the slate. I mean, there's some very easily hammerable numbers on here.
Yeah.
I like the over on Koepka actually, 2.5.
Yeah. I was looking at this. Seems like a week where Koepka just doesn't care. So I like that. It's a great week to start on Thrive. Promo code GGT, double your deposit initially, and come join the leaderboard. Try and make some cash.
For YouTube, it'll be in the link down below, and it's in my Instagram bio. It's in Bob's link tree. I think Dan has it in his bio as well.
Yeah.
If you're listening on podcast or whatever non-YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I think besides that, that's about all we got. That was a
That's all we got.
I enjoyed the Saudi debate. That was
I love it.
And as you said, there's more to come this summer with that, which would be cool.
Oh, it's going to be really interesting to see how we follow up with that discussion, because there are going to be updates. I think we all have very good points. I completely can see the other side. I completely can see it. I just think that it's great to discuss because it's so complicated. There's so many moving parts. It'll be interesting. Did you guys watch the Greg Norman doc?
The one on ESPN Plus, I did.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. It
was cool, especially as a
I think that kind of heightened my opinion of Greg Norman. I just think that made me like him more. Just the way he handled all that. He handled it very well. Like that must have been awful to go through.
For those that haven't seen it, I assume most of our audience has ESPN Plus for PJ.
It's one of
watch it. If you're
it's one of the better sports. It's one of the better sports documentaries I've ever seen. So yeah, watch it. But do you have anything, Dan?
I was just gonna say ESPN Plus continues to kill it, man. They just up. So if you don't have it,
you're missing out.
Worth it.
There's so much more than PGA Tour Live for $6 a month.
Yeah,
like the documentary we just mentioned. There's just so much stuff on there.
Yeah, and you can watch like master 1 hour recaps. I didn't know that, so I watched Spieth the other day. It was cool. I didn't realize Justin Rose was there. Phil.
Speaking of ESPN Plus, just to mention it, you might need it next week at the PGA. I'm not sure yet, but if it's like last year. I don't think
PGA.com has
groups.
They might, but I don't think they'll be as good as the.
I'll be doing some giveaways. I'll give away. Was it a month? 6 a month?
6 a month?
6 or 7, yeah, I think. It's
$6.
I'll give away like 5 or 6 accounts. People don't like.
Ooh, look at you! What a charitable young.
What's that? Like $20? I guess not that bad.
Yeah,
nice guy, Bob.
Thanks. Actually, I probably only have to buy 2 accounts because you can have 3 screens, so I can just give it to 3 people each.
Yeah, the year pass is better deal, but regardless. I don't know why we're promoting ESPN Plus now. What we should be promoting
is very good.
The app. I'm just kidding. We don't have an app.
But yeah, speaking of something that Jordan talked about at the start, like it's almost the summer. We're gonna have a lot more time to I know that I'm basically doing this full time. I have an office space that I've basically settled down, which is gonna be pretty cool. So it's gonna be a good summer. Almost a 10K. That would be sick if we could have that the PGA.
And where you guys are going US Open, right?
Oh, that's gonna be sick.
Yes, sir.
Me and Jordan conquering Brookline, the country club.
Bob, you're headed to Travelers, right?
Oh, I'll be headed to Travelers next week. Yeah.
Jordan, are you going anywhere else?
I am. I told my followers that it will be a surprise for a couple more weeks, but I'm sure it shouldn't be that hard to figure out. I'll just say that.
I have no clue. So you have to tell us when this is over.
I think I know.
We'll have to. We don't want to go on a tangent. Is there any final thoughts that we have? We're looking forward to the stretch coming up, to say the least.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.